I'd like to invite Rob and Kerry and David back up, and we'll open the floor up now to questions and answers. We have mics. We typically try to have this limited to like a 15-minute Q&A. So who would like to kick off the Q&A? Or comment, if you want to make a good comment, that's terrific too.
Hi, I'm Christine Scott. First of all, I'd like to give congratulations to those who are in charge of the floral arrangements of signs at the gate at Greenwood. I think it's the best job they've ever done. Secondly, I don't know if this has been addressed before, but I'm wondering about the restaurant at the Beach Club. And I understand there's going to be a grill, and I'm wondering if my family and I can walk into the restaurant with beach clothes, cover-ups, flip-flops. What is going to be the procedure for that?
I'll take the question because we've all seen the plan. There are multiple eating facilities and drinking facilities at the new Beach Club. There's a grab-and-go eating facility.
Mm-hmm.
There is a sort of cafeteria-like facility similar to what's there now with open seating, outdoor and indoor. There's still going to be the beach bar, and then there's an event space on the upper level, as well as a separate bar. Their current plan for the separate bar on the upper level is still very casual, but not swimsuits and no T-shirts and everything. They will have a dress code there, but it won't be a very stringent one.
But the first floor will be available to
That's correct.
beach. Thank you.
And that's the plan. We haven't seen anything that's been a variation on that plan since it was approved. But
that was the suggestion when the proposal, when the plan was presented to us and to the community. That's our understanding right now.
That's still the plan.
That's still the
That
plan.
is
There you
still
go,
the plan.
Carrie.
It's still going to be a casual facility, and the dress code is very similar to what it is today. The upstairs bar that Bob was mentioning, the dress code we've talked about is like a collared shirt versus a T-shirt or a covered cover-up, but
or no shirt.
or no shirt. But it is to be a very casual facility, and so what you experience today is very, very similar to what you'll experience in the future.
Anybody else? Right here. Behind you.
I'm Buddy Thompson. I want to say that I appreciate all your service, and I don't attend these meetings, but I certainly read about you a lot, what Gary puts out. If I could, the reason I'm standing here is because right today, I have about 50% of the homes around me are short-term rentals. And I see this happening throughout the Sea Pines. Sea Pines was designed as mixed use with areas of single-family residential, type A, multifamily, type B. It was the accepted practice in early times to allow for short-term rentals in the dense type B residential units, not type A. Now the predominantly single-family space of homes planned in Sea Pines and for owner-occupied families or their long-term rentals are rapidly becoming short-term rentals of not just by the week, but by the day. This trend, heretofore apparently ignored by ASPPPO and CSA, will have a long-term negative impact upon the Sea Pines Company and have a negative multiplier effect upon all facilities within the plantation. You can see that when you ride a bicycle during spring break, as well as upon all who have come to live in Sea Pines as homeowners of detached homes. For those who don't know, to rent short-term, one must have a business license issued by the town of Hilton Head. This means to me that short-term renters are in business rapidly turning your and my single-family residential neighborhoods in places solely for profit. We as homeowners equally bear the cost of CSA operations and facilities with these business people, yet ultimately our equal share of assets are substantially watered down with the unplanned increase of short-term renters, especially during the warmer months. During the colder times, the property is sit vacant, contributing nothing to the island, sea pines, the company, or the permanent residents. I believe that is very important for the future of both Sea Pines Resort and to the plantation to have a healthy, single-family, home-occupied community as originally planned. This is almost like a cancer, folks, because I grew up on St. Simon's. I was one of the first 7 community planners in the state of South Carolina. I understand land use. I understand it from the standpoint of how Charles did it because I watched him dig Harbortown. And I do know that like on East Beach, as my brother says there, is ruining East Beach of St. Simon's and it'll ruin Sea Pines until this board begins to understand what the rental occupied community does, and that will solve your problem of access to the beach resort. Easy done. Once you begin to look at it and understand it, as the city of Beaufort just now addressed not too long ago, they use special exceptions and variances in their ordinance. But anyway, I'll shut up.
Buddy, thank you for your input. That's terrific. And we'll definitely take that up at the upcoming board meetings. Thank you very much.
Question regarding the Harbortown tennis facilities, which have woefully been worn down and not neglected, and we never hear anything about improving the situation on the, anybody have any information on when they're ever going to fix up the tennis courts at Harbortown?
Carrie, you want-
Carrie, thought you were going to escape, huh?
Yeah, you got it.
Maybe I need to come up front, but yes, and it's a very, very, very valid point that we realize the tennis facility is such an eyesore to the community, and we are currently working on a plan and to upgrade the tennis facility at the current location. We may make some modifications to it, put in a new tennis pro shop. We may end up trying to look at how we marry maybe a fitness center with it, but we are working on that. We understand it is something that is extremely important, not only to the community, but to the resort as well, and we want to get it done as quickly as possible. The challenges that we have had with that is, granted, we've got an inferior pool complex, and we need to address that. Now, is it everything in the right location? And that's what that we're really struggling with, but I think we're narrowing ourselves down to where the tennis facility needs to be upgraded, the pro shop needs to be replaced, and how we get that done. And we want to do that in the near future, but we have to address parking, we have to address the laydown for the PGA Tour tournament, and some other things. So it's a little bit more complicated than just say we need to go and replace the triple wide, and we hate the triple wide truly. And we are working on a plan. Hopefully we can get this thing addressed fairly soon, whether it's a year or maybe a little longer or less. I can't answer that, but it is certainly of keen interest to us as well.
My name is Barbara Worth, and I have a house on the ocean down at Gadwall, which is way down by the Salty Dog. And to this gentleman's question, there's only 7 houses on my street, 5 with occupants, but 2 of those houses are rentals. They started out at 3 bedrooms, most of them are 5 bedrooms, and now we get like 6 cars in each driveway, which they don't even have garages because they made these big houses like for all these occupants, and it isn't really nice, and I agree with this gentleman, and I've been here over 20 years.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see back there.
I mean, the gentleman who spoke earlier raised a nice point to us who are permanent residents. And it's like every year I come here, there's always seems to be someone who comes with a well-prepared statement, he's done some research, and he presents his question to the board, absolute silence, and you are representatives. I would like to hear some responsible reply, whether you're going to study it, and if you're going to study it, is there going to be a report? I want to hear some feedback. Here.
I think Bob said that we were going to look at it and we'll study it. I think it's important. I think this question, commentary, and the subsequent commentary ties into Charlie's presentation on the land use monitor. I think there's a bunch of issues that go on in this community that have not been addressed, and we're trying to address it initially through the land use monitor, because I think the covenants in many respects are being ignored, overlooked, bypassed. I think it's something we have to look at. But trust me, the covenants are that thick, sort of in the reduced version. So the covenants are very convoluted, but I do think there's a legitimate point made. You know, I live here too. Bob lives here. He and I live in a neighborhood, and there's a fellow that owns 3 houses on the ocean, and he probably hasn't seen them in 3 years. They're always rented. They're like hotels. So I think those are issues we have to address as a community, and they're complicated issues. But we're going to look at it.
But I did say that we will have this
Absolutely.
on the agenda for the next meeting.
I'm Ellie McLaughlin. I live on Woodbine Place, and I'd just like to say I love the new trolleys.
Thank you. Love the travel. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Wait a minute. Got a
I'm
question?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm Dick Somberg. I live on Calabogie Cay.
Yes.
I am a retired attorney, and I'm very concerned about the coffee case because I think it hangs over our heads with a very substantial judgment. It's nice to know that the lawyers tell us that they're very happy about the prospect for appeal, but they said that before it went to trial, too. I think that my question is this, and I think we're entitled to know it as the residents in the neighborhood. Has our insurance companies, have they given us a definitive decision on whether or not they're going to give us coverage, or have they denied coverage? Have they ever made a final decision on this? Because it's very important. If the judgment is sustained, it's $6 million plus interest, and it's going to be a killer for us. So I think we're entitled to know whether that insurance question is still hanging over us, or have they made any definitive decision? I'd appreciate an answer.
Let me answer that. I've been involved in this process on a number of occasions. They have not withdrawn their reservation of rights. All the insurers have issued what they call reservation of rights letters. On the other hand, they have provided us with a defense. They have paid for that defense, and the arguments that they've made on appeal are frankly inconsistent with their position that would allow them to avoid coverage. We have been advised by counsel that we have every right to expect coverage. We have every right to expect a defense. They have been behaving consistent with that. We're optimistic that the case will result in a favorable outcome for us, and we are, based on our conversations with counsel, we're optimistic that the insurers will live up to their responsibility. And that's reflected in the financial statements.